It is time to meditate. May have to close that door though. Anybody coming this way? There we go. All right, well, while we get ready to meditate, I'm Adrian Madden, one of the practitioners here at the Center for Spiritual Living Beaumont. I'm going to lead your meditation today, and I would like everybody to let go of all the things that you were doing before now so that we can descend into this moment, this nowness, center ourselves. Once we've put everything down, take a nice deep breath in and then release it all. Decided not to go with music today. Decided to go with the sound of a nice beach. The water rushing in. So let's close our eyes and imagine ourselves sitting on a towel on that beach, looking out across the beautiful blue ocean. Little waves lapping down the way, just a little ways off from our feet. A light ocean breeze. Focus on our breathing while we sit on that beautiful beach. Breathe in. Breathe out. On every out breath, find a spot somewhere on your body where you're tense. Focus on it for just a second, acknowledge it for what it is, and let it go on your out breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Any sounds you hear outside of the ocean, acknowledge them for what they are and let them go. Any thought that intrudes, acknowledge for what it is and let it go. Feel the peace in this very moment. You have nowhere to go. All is well in this moment. In your mind's eye, looking out across the water, you look up and you see a bird floating in the sky, facing out to the water, just riding the wind, not really going anywhere. You feel the connection with that bird just floating there, enjoying this moment. Feel your heart swell with the love that is life. Feel how you're unattached to anything. And yet, because of this, you'd notice the connection between you and everything around you. One moment, one universe. All is God. As you breathe out, you feel your spot here in this story, this one story, this universe. You feel the harmony between yourself and everything around you. The one mind which allows you to sit here on this sand and allows the bird to float in the air, the breeze to come across yourself, your face, your body, the waves lapping upon the shore, all one. Feel your anxiety melt away. Your worries become nothing but dust. For in this one moment, you know all is God. Take another deep breath in. And as you exhale, you feel the connection, the air, the light, the sand, the water, the sounds. It's all one happening, one story, one verse. Mind's eye, you get up and you stand there gazing across the water. You feel the oneness. And as you come back to this room, to your seat, you take that with you. Everywhere you go and everything you do, that oneness is always there. You have but to become aware of it. Thank you for joining us for meditation. Our service begins at 10 o'clock.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. My name is Reverend Neil. I'd like to welcome you if you're here in person. Thanks for braving this cold and rainy weather. Those of you that are joining us online, I know you're drinking your hot chocolate and your jammies. But if you could type and let us know where you're watching from. If this is your first time watching us online or in person, welcome. We do have welcome packets here in the back. And I just want you to know that whoever you are and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. We teach a philosophy called Science of Mind, which is a combination of ancient wisdom and mystery schools and modern science and quantum mechanics. So wherever you are on that spectrum, you're welcome here this morning. After the service, we have a fellowship and a meal in Carter Hall. Please join us after service as we like fellowship and talking and checking in with each other. If you haven't already, please take a moment to make sure that your cell phone is silent. And we always like to begin by reading our vision statement together and affirming who we are as a spiritual community. So please join me in with all of your enthusiasm and loud spiritual voices. CSLB is an inclusive and transformative community of spiritual practice, and we're glad that you're here this morning. Let's open up with our opening song, and I invite you to turn and as you are singing, say good morning and howdy to your neighbors.
There is a fountain that never runs dry, forever flows with water of life. You never stop moving, you never stop moving. And where your river runs, everything lives. And where your river goes, will never thirst again. You never stop moving, you never stop moving. Your mercy flows like a wild, wild river. Your love is strong like the raging sea. God, all your goodness goes beyond all measure. Your praise like a flood pouring out of me. You call me out to walk with you on the sea. Even in my doubt, deep calls to deep. You never stop moving, you never stop moving. Your mercy flows like a wild, wild river. Your love is strong like the raging sea. God, all your goodness goes beyond all measure. Your praise like a flood pouring out of me. Your grace a limitless ocean. I'm swept away in the tide. We draw from the well of your goodness and drink from the water of life. Your grace a limitless ocean. I'm swept away in the tide. We draw from the well of your goodness and drink from the water of life. Your grace a limitless ocean. I'm swept away in the tide. We draw from the well of your goodness and drink from your water. Your mercy flows like a wild,
beautiful song. A couple of announcements of things going on around here. You can celebrate a loved one, organization, or special occasion by sponsoring our Sunday flowers with a floral arrangement and a heartfelt message. I know that our flowers here this morning are sponsored by our practitioner, Siv Adams, in honor of her husband. So we send her love and light this morning. You can also sign up for the Fellowship Food Challenge on the information station. There's a $50 reimbursement for the main dishes based on receipts. The Joel Goldsmith book discussion is not meeting this week. We are dark the first week. For those of you that attend the Science of Mind discussion group, how many of you have been to the Science of Mind discussion group? Well, if you'd like to go, you talk to one of the people with their hands up and they'll give you all the details. That's going on this week. So the Joel Goldsmith book discussion will resume next week. And on Wednesday, May 14th from 5 to 8, there's a movie night and spaghetti dinner, and they'll be watching the movie Sully with a discussion afterwards. So join us for all those lovely events. My reading this morning is from 365 Days of Richer Living, Daily Inspirations, and it's by Ernest Holmes and Raymond Barker Charles. Raymond Charles? I always say that backwards. The title is, I Relax and Allow the Action of God to Move Through Me. I know that within me, God is now in full action, and I am made whole. God created me. God maintains me. And when I need help, its mind restores me to wholeness. Never for a single moment does the indwelling spirit cease its perfect action. Always it flows through my mind as right thinking, through my body as health, and through my world as order. I recognize this perfect divine activity and allow it to restore me to wholeness. In the midst of me is the stillness of God, where all ideas await my acceptance. Calmly and quietly, I take from this inner spirit of good. God's healing peace flows through me as I accept it, and I am healed. I feel this inner peace, not only in my body, but flowing through my mind. I know that whoever contacts me senses this peace and knows that it is from God. I have peace in my life this day, and I give peace to my world this day. There is nothing to disrupt, confuse, or annoy. Order reigns in my experience, and law brings forth my every thought. The Holy Spirit of right action dominates my thinking, and I am poised in perfect results. No matter what tries to disturb me, I see it as nothing, for I am peace, and I radiate peace. My subconscious accepts this demand that I place upon it and brings it forth. Nothing can enter my experience except those situations which bring me peace. All men and women offer me peace, and I accept it. Every word spoken to me is peaceful, and every word I speak brings healing to my fellow humans. I think rightly and peacefully about all whom I know, and thus they too are led beside the still waters, for my thought enriches their lives with peace. Peace, being the action of God, is omnipotent in my world today, and so it is. So take this moment. The practitioners and I will be available after service for a moment of prayer on this side of the sanctuary. Please do not leave here this morning with anything in your heart. We would love to pray with you, and we absolutely know that prayer works. So let's all close our eyes and let this meditative song bring us to our center.
Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. You have all you need, it's all inside of you. Just close your eyes and breathe and know that you are safe. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. No need to make a plan, your heart will be your compass. Lift your sails in faith and trust that you will arrive. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore and let the water carry you. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Let go of the shore, float into the mystery. Float into the mystery.
And so letting go of everything that has happened before now, letting go of all of the worldly affairs and concerns, we simply sink into that ocean of consciousness. That ocean of consciousness, that presence, that principle, that power which is all around us, in and through and as each one of us. It is that power, that principle, that presence, which I call God, and I know that we are all swimming in it. It is an ocean of peace, a river of harmony, perfect, divine, right order. It is all love, all peace, all wholeness, all grace. And it is available through each one of us as much as we are willing to accept this morning. And so maybe this morning we just open up a little bit more and allow that grace, that presence to flow in and through and as us, to enlighten us, to lighten our load, to carry us through our day and through our week. And so I give thanks for this moment, for this spiritual community, knowing that through the music, through the message, through the conscious community, we are reminded who we are. We are the divine made manifest. We are the perfect action of God. We are the wholeness of the universe showing up as each one of us. And so I know that Spirit is present and unfolding as divine perfection this morning. In great gratitude, I simply declare it to be so, and I accept it. And if you're in agreement with me, say together, and so it is.
And so it is. And Ernest Holmes talks about our regal royalty of inheritance. He talks about our regal royalty of inheritance that is like a divine ocean of consciousness. And Reverend Neil just brought up that concept and that image, as did our meditative song, that deep ocean of consciousness. And Ernest Holmes refers to that as deep calling unto deep. And so today I go back to a story of my childhood in 1957. And I remember this day, and I do, or that day, as clearly as when it happened in 1957. And it was my journey, it was the beginning of my journey of going deep unto deep. And the deep unto deep that I went to was a journey into the center of the earth. But not really. It was a journey into the depth of the earth, because my family and I went 120 feet down below Earth's surface into the famous Ohio cavern caves. And we came to see, and I came to see, in this picture on the screen, these amazing stalagmite formations. And I remember the tour guide. Why do we remember those things? We can't remember what we had for breakfast. Why do I remember the tour guide when I was 5 years old saying stalagmite formations, stalagmite with a G, meaning they rise up from the ground. Stalagmites with a G rise up from the ground, and stalagmites with a C hang down from the ceiling. And two, I remember the guide telling us that there was a deep calling unto deep in this cave that we were in. And that deep calling unto deep was called the Crystal River that ran beneath all of these caves. Between all of these individual caves, 120 feet beyond the ground, there was a deeper calling unto deep. And that deeper calling unto deep that connected all of these caves was the Crystal River that ran beneath it. Meister Eckhart shares, spirit is a great underground river that no one can dam up and no one can stop the eternality of the flow of that underground river. Ernest Holmes shares that within each and all of us is a deep calling unto deep. And that deep calling unto deep, for me, is the depth of that river, the depth of that ocean, the depth of that stream of consciousness that runs through the all of our lives. And our talk title constantly changed. It was River Dance, which I loved. And I loved River Dance because it's one word. And in film school, we studied the films of Alfred Hitchcock. And Alfred Hitchcock shared that he loved one-word titles because his most successful and award-winning films and box office hits were one-word titles. Psycho, Rope, Marnie. Those were his best awarded, best received, and most financially successful. So he said whenever he had a screenplay before him, he would always see if he could reduce it to a one-word title. And so I tried to reduce A River Runs Through It to River Dance, and I loved it. But it didn't work. The talk just wouldn't gel. The talk wouldn't come together. There was no underground river that connected the elements of this talk. And so yesterday, I changed the talk back to A River Runs Through It, and all of a sudden there was this flow of conscious energy. There was this flow of this ocean of consciousness. There was this flow of that regal royalty of oneness that Ernest Holmes refers to as our deep calling unto our deep. And so I invite you right now to take a moment, go back in time, or forward in time, right? We have the power of choice in this moment to go back, to go forward, or to be present. And I invite you to be present right now with the deep calling unto deep. What is that deep calling unto deep for you? Take a moment to be present right here and now. That regal royalty of deep calling unto deep. What is it for you right now? What's calling you? What's inviting you to answer? What deep unto deep can you remember when you were a child? My deep unto deep of those Ohio caves. Can you find a deep unto deep within you in which the past and the present and the future become one in the eternity of this moment? Can you find a deep calling unto deep within you? And live streamers, I invite you to participate in this process as well. Deep calling unto deep. What's calling you? What's calling you to answer? What's calling you to answer in that eternity of the unity of oneness? And that eternity and the unity of oneness that is reflected in our flames of faith behind us. That regal royalty of unity of our unity candle, which represents that deep calling unto deep, that river that runs through all of the religions, that deep unto deep that calls and runs through all of the religions. There is a deep, and it is calling, and it's inviting us to make it welcome. What's your deep unto deep that's calling you? That's inviting you to make the past and the present and the future welcome in this eternal moment? William Blake shared this about the deep calling unto deep. He said, to see a world in a grain of sand and heaven in a wildflower, hold infinity in the palm of your hand and eternity in an hour. For William Blake, that was his deep calling unto deep. It was his mystical, miraculous, and magical moment where the past and the present and the future became one in this eternal moment in which heaven and earth were as one. That's the royal regalcy that Ernest Holmes speaks about. That place in our soul, that place in our heart, that place in our life, that light of love that unites heaven and earth as one. And there are mystical places we can go to. That cave in Ohio was kind of a mystical, magical, mysterious place for me as a 5-year-old. It was amazing. I still remember the enormity of it. It took me out of the normalcy of my life and took me into this enormous, expanded vision that there was life below. Below the surface of the earth was this entire life going on. And it was life representing heaven and earth as one. The stalagmites see for ceiling were growing to meet the stalagmites from the ground rising up, and they were coming to rise up, and some of those stalactites and stalagmites actually met. And they unified that space. They became one. Some of them actually became one, unifying the ceiling and the ground, unifying heaven and earth, unifying that light of love that we are. And so there are mystical places we go to, and for me, that cave was a mystical place. Where's your cave? Where's your mystical cave? Where's your mystical cave of your soul? Where's the mystical cave of your heart? Where's the mystical cave of your mind that invites you to go deep and deep and deeper? There are faraway lands that invite us to go far away into that deep unto deep unto deeper. The faraway lands of Shangri-La, the faraway lands of Brigadoon, and the faraway lands of Bali High. Bali High will call you, yes? Bali High will call you. The question I ask, will you answer? Will you answer? Will you answer the call of Shangri-La? Will you answer the call of Brigadoon? Will you answer the call of Bali High? And the call of those mystical places is the call of the place where time and the timeless, of the here and now and the here and after, tango together as finite and infinite as one. They tango together in that deep that calls unto deep, that invites us to answer. They tango together as finite and infinite as one. And eternity is explained this way. One explanation of eternity. What's your explanation? What's your experience? What's your expression of eternity? Eternity is explained this way. Eternity is a really, really long time. A sage was asked, how long have we been on the spiritual journey together? And the sage replied, imagine this. Go into the deep of your imagination. And what does Ernest Holmes say about the deep of our imagination? He said, our imagination is like fire from heaven. Our imagination, the deep of our imagination is like fire from heaven. That's the fire in our soul. That's the flame of love in our heart. And that's the light of love that we bring forth when we merge the past of our life experience with the present of this moment, with the future of what's to be. We become that passion fire of eternity that presents itself as that oneness and that unity of love. And so how long have we been on this journey together? And the sage replied, imagine. John Lennon, imagine there's no heaven and hell above, right? Imagine there's only love. Imagine a mountain 3 miles wide, 3 miles high, and 3 miles long. Once every 100 years, a bird flies over the mountain holding a silk scarf in its beak, which it brushes across the surface of the mountain. The time it would take for the scarf to wear down the mountain is how long we've been doing this spiritual journey together. We've been doing it for eternity in the deep calling, the deep of our soul. We've been doing it for all of eternity. St. Augustine shares this of the mystery and the miracles and the magic of eternity. He says, people travel to wonder at the heights of mountains. They'll travel very, very far to find the wonder in the heights of a mountain. We'll wander very, very far and wide to wonder at the huge waves of the sea. We'll wander very far and wide to look at the long courses of rivers, at the vast compass of the ocean. Reverend Neil brought in that ocean of consciousness, right, in which all rivers flow. That ocean of consciousness in which individuals become one with the river of consciousness. And St. Augustine says, we wonder at the circular motion of the stars, and yet, eternally, we pass by ourselves without wondering about the deep that calls unto deep of our soul and invites our hearts to answer. We pass by ourselves without wondering. We look so far outside ourselves, we'll travel so far and so long and so wide that we can't possibly see the wonder that we are, the magic that we are, the miraculous that we are. You know, it's said that mystery creates wonder, and wonder creates desire. A desire to overcome, yes? We shall overcome the ways of the world without by becoming one with the ways of the wonder of our soul within. We shall overcome. And shall, if we're putting it in the future tense, we're not going to overcome anything in the future tense, and we're not going to overcome anything in the past tense. The only place that we shall overcome the ways of this world is by entering the wonder of our soul here and now. That's the wonder of our teaching. That's the oneness of Ernest Holmes. That's the unity of the consciousness of all rivers flowing into that ocean of consciousness. And that only happens in the here and now. That wonder of who we are, that wonder of our souls deep calling unto deep, that wonder of our heart opening up to a deeper love than we've ever opened up to before, and expressing it as the creative life we live in creative ways we've never expressed it in the world before. That's our deep calling unto deep that invites us to paint, that invites us to dance, that invites us to sing, that invites us to write, that invites us to become the author and the authorship of the life we live. That's the deep calling unto deep that invites us to answer with the penmanship of our soul and write upon it on the blank canvas of our heart. And know that blank canvas of our heart holds mystery, and it holds wonder, and it holds miracles. It holds the miracle of the eternality, of the divinity of the divine river, of that crystal river that united all of those caves in Ohio. There's that crystal clarity in our soul that rises to become the dawn of a new day, a dawn of seeing clear. On a clear day, can you see forever? On a clear day, can you see forever? And if you can't, how can you see from the clarity of that divine river that flows within all of us, the clarity of the divinity of a crystal river that is so clear and so clean and so sparkling and so bright that it can only be the reflection of the light of love that's in our souls, that's wanting to express through the clarity of love in our heart as an expression of the certainty of love in this world. You know, I like to see that eternality of divinity of that divine river this way. You find your own words. You find that deep calling unto deep in your own soul. You find that clarity of love in your heart that becomes the certainty of love of the life that you live. You find your words. You pen your own words. You create your own life experience. These are some words that came to me about the eternality of that divine river that is the deep calling unto deep of my soul. These are my words. What are your words? That feeling of the eternity of divinity flowing from my soul to the clarity of my heart to the certainty of the life that I live felt like this. Hard putting words to a feeling of that deep calling unto deep. But we do our best, right? We do our best. These words found me. The home, sweet home of my soul dances forever as love's river in my heart. Those were words that I put to that crystal river of my soul. What words would you give the crystal river of your soul? What feeling is the crystal river of your soul expressing to you? What clarity is the openness of your heart showing you? What certainty of living your life from love through the creative expression of the divine is life showing up as you? What creative expression of the divine is showing up as you? It shows up in the colors of the clothes we choose to wear. It shows up in the fabrics of the clothes we choose to wear. It shows up as long sleeve and short sleeves and turtleneck and pullover and polo. What's the shirt of your consciousness? What's the cloth of your consciousness? The cloth of Christ's consciousness is the cloth of a divine robe of fine silk fabrics that were made of one piece. There were no seams in Christ's robe. It was one piece that spoke of that divinity of eternality in his soul. It was a one piece of silk. It was the finest silk. It was the finest fabric. It was the finest robe. Because he was a man of the finest caliber, of the finest consciousness, of the finest commitment to being the here and now presence of that love, the love of the divinity of the river that flowed in his soul. And so I invite us today to read this as an affirmation and to say it together. And if you read and say this with me, these are my words. You find your words. But if you read this with me, the home, sweet home of my soul dances forever as love's river in my heart. Marianne Williamson shares that each and all of us have a true desire. And that true desire is to return to love. I mean, I want the bigger screen TV. We have a 55-inch. I wish we'd bought the 75-inch. That may be a want. But that's not the desire of the deep of my soul calling unto deep. My true desire is to love that 55-inch TV exactly as it is, and be with it exactly as it is. But my true desire is to move beyond the materiality of this world into the magnificence of that eternality of love that's in my soul. My true desire is to return to the loves I once had. My true desire is to return to the loves that I've lost along the way. And my true desire is to return to the true love of coming to know myself better, of coming to know myself authentically, of coming to know myself organically, of coming to know myself as one with a deep calling on the deep of that divine river ever present in my soul. How many people know the book, the story? I did not know this as a kid. This was not on my child's bookshelf. My mom did not read this to me. I forgive you, Mom. Gee, I looked up. Maybe I forgive you. There's no up and down, right? We are where we are. And I do like to say in Science of Mind, when we make our transition, we don't go anywhere. We don't go up or down or left or right. We go everywhere, and we go everywhere all at once. And that's our teaching, yes? That's truly our teaching. That feeling of going everywhere and all at once. That's a pretty exciting calling that's calling us to go forward into that river of divinity that's the river of love in our soul, in knowing that river goes everywhere and it goes everywhere and all at once. And what is ours to do is take a ride on that river. The book, The Velveteen Rabbit, how many people know it? It was not in my child's library. It came to me through ministerial school. The book, The Velveteen Rabbit, shares this of coming to love our authentic and true self, as if perhaps for the first time. I'm willing to bet. I'm not sure bet's the right word. I'm willing to be present with the possibility. That's better than betting, right? Betting is like odds, dice. And this teaching moves us beyond all odds and beyond all oddities into the unity of that oneness of love. And that's the Velveteen Rabbit, is about the unity of the oneness of love. It's about the stalactite G from the ground and the stalactite C from the ceiling. It comes to meet as one in unity and merges that love of heaven and earth as one. And this passage from the Velveteen Rabbit speaks of that unity, of that river of divinity that flows in, as, and through each and every one of us in this room today, each and every one on live stream today. There's this unity of connectivity. And it's the river of divinity that flows within us all. And the Velveteen Rabbit speaks to that divinity. Nursery magic is very strange and very wonderful. And it's only for those playthings that are old and wise and experienced, like the skin horse who understands all about the divinity of love. What is eternally for real, asked the rabbit one day. Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle? Real isn't how you are made, said the wise skin horse. It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just as a toy to play with, but really, really loves you, then you become real. then you become real. It doesn't happen all at once. You become. It takes a long time, generally. By the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly except to people who don't understand. People who don't understand that love is eternal, that love flows forever, and that love is like an underground river. What story does the Velveteen Rabbit take you to? A very successful story made by Pixar a few years back. What is the story of the Velveteen Rabbit told in a new way? Toy Story. Toy Story. Toy Story is the Velveteen Rabbit, made new. New vision, new director, new techniques of animation. So many of our stories of love, eternal, so many stories of our life eternal of that river, so many stories are told in so many ways, but they're telling the same story. The story of love eternal that is the deep on the deep that calls us to bring that forth, this love into the world. Someone who understands the river of divinity that flows through all of our lives is Richard Bach, author of the book Illusions. Richard Bach shares this of that river that runs through us. Richard Bach shares this of that river that runs through us. The master answered, and that would be the skin horse was the master in the Velveteen Rabbit. The master answered and said, once there lived a village of creatures along the bottom of a great crystal river. Now I invite you, from the deep calling on the deep of your soul, to explain to me how I remembered at 4 o'clock this morning when I was allowing this talk to polish itself, because it was not sparkling on the number of facets I wanted it to sparkle on. You tell me from the deep on the deep of your soul how, at 4 in the morning, the remembrance of the crystal river of the caves in Ohio shows up and unites with the crystal river that Richard Bach talks about. It unites with the title, A River Flows Through It. There's mystery, there's miracles, and there is magic in this teaching. Are you willing to answer the call of deep unto deep? Are you willing to say yes to the miracle and the magic of the love in your heart? And are you willing to let that light of love in your heart become the miracle and the magic of the love in this world that you are? To become the creative magic and miracle of the expression of yourself in a whole new way that you've never expressed it before. Are you willing? The master answered and said, once there lived a village of creatures along the bottom of a great crystal river. The current of the river swept silently over them, all young and old, rich and poor, good and evil. The current going its own way, knowing only its own crystal self. Each creature in its own manner clung tightly to the twigs and rocks at the river bottom, for clinging was their way of life and resisting the current, what each had learned from birth, clinging and resisting. But one creature said at last, I am tired of clinging. Though I cannot see it with my eyes, I trust that the current knows where it is going. I shall let go and let it take me where it will. For clinging, I shall die of boredom. The other creatures laughed and said, fool, let go, and that current you worship will throw you tumbled and smashed across the rocks, and you will die quicker than boredom. Something in spiritual teaching called quickening. I'm experiencing it in my life. Every time we fix something and we're gaining on the things we're fixing, we don't fix things, we just be present with them. But sometimes the way we're present with things, we fix them, right? That's part of it. And we had this to-do list of things to fix. And the more we fix, the more it comes up. And I thought, what is going on? What is going on? And I got what's going on is that river of life is flowing more fully through us, inviting us to complete anything that needs to be completed for us to move on into that river of consciousness. It's coming up more quickly because Spirit knows I can handle it more easily. Spirit knows I can handle it more easily. So when your life quickens, know that you are growing at a pace in which you can not only accept that quickening, but become that quickening of the spiritual depth of your soul that is rising up through the spiritual clarity of your heart to become the certainty of the love of the life you live. Yet in time, as the creature refused to cling again, right, didn't want to be a Klingon, the current lifted him free from the bottom and he was bruised, but no more than lightly bruised. And the creatures downstream to whom he was a stranger cried, "See a miracle, a creature like ourselves, yet he flies. See the Messiah, come to save us all." And the one carried in the current said, "I am no more Messiah than you. The river delights to lift us free, if only we dare to let go. Our true work of this voyage, our true work of this discovery, our true work of this royal regalcy of our life is the lesson of learning to let go and to go with the flow." The next story is a story of letting go, the letting go of who we think we are in order to more quickly and more easily become who and whose we truly are. I've told this story before. This slide relates to Richard Bach and that river of life that flows through us. If you know the feather, the floating of a feather on that stream of life was one of his themes in Jonathan. And Jonathan's one of my bedside Bibles. You know, you can have the Kabbalah, you can have the traditional Bible, you can have a story written, you can have this Ernest Holmes text, but my bedside Bible I most often turn to is anything by Richard Bach. Anything by Richard Bach. He writes stories of becoming whose and who we are, but first we have to let go. And our story is the story of a hummingbird. And we told it before, but it's so perfect for this story of the river of our becoming. There was a river and a hummingbird and a forest fire. And all of the animals of the forest ran across the river because the fire was on the left bank of the river. And they all ran across the river to the right bank, knowing they would be safe. And they stood there and did nothing but watch the fire approaching. They did absolutely nothing but stand there and watch the fire approaching. And at one point, the fire leaps across the river and their lives are threatened. And they stand there and they do nothing. They stand there and they do nothing, except for one hummingbird who hears that call from the depth of his soul that brings a clarity to his heart, that brings him to call forth his creative expression in life, his high resolve. That's what Howard Thurman calls these moments, the moments of high resolve, when we say yes to the river of life in our soul. These are the moments of our high resolve. This hummingbird called forth a moment of high resolve. The moments in which the river of our life circumstances come to dance as one with our divine consciousness. And this little hummingbird flew into the river and picked up water, splashed himself and picked up a drop of water in his beak and ran and threw it on the fire. And he did it again and again, and nobody followed. Everybody stood there watching. Nobody joined him. Nobody helped him. But as so often is true, they criticized him. And they said, "You are so small and tiny, you can't possibly have an effect on that fire." How often have we been told that our dreams are too impossible to create or to live or to call forth? That the dream of peace on earth, that the dream of food for all, that the dream of all nations coming together, borderless as one. How often have we been told that's not a possible dream? Well, this hummingbird said, I may be small, and my drop of water on that fire may be a very, very small part. But what I'm doing my part. What are you doing? And all of the rivers, because one Messiah let go of a rock and the twigs and floated down the river, because of one hummingbird who let go of the belief that he wasn't big enough, but had a big heart and a big soul, and a river ran through it. And all of a sudden, all the animals around him, because of his clarity of who he was, came to the clarity of who they were. And the elephant came and filled his trunk and splashed the fire, and the lions and the tigers splashed their tail, and they put out the fire. They put out the fire. And what we're talking about in that story is the transformation of becoming who we are. It's the transformation of becoming who we are. That's the journey of eternity that we're on. And it's the journey of eternity that we're on together, like it or not. Like it or not, we're all in this together. Ken Wilber says this of the transformation of becoming who we are. You must speak out to the best of your ability. Shake that spiritual tree to its foundation and shine your headlights into the eyes of the complacent. Share and communicate that vision of heaven and earth as one and declare it in no uncertain terms. Speak out with compassion, speak out with wisdom, speak out with skillful means. But speak out you must. Terrence Stanley was a cancer research activist who spoke out, who stood up, who made a difference. He was a Canadian athlete, a humanitarian, and cancer research activist in 1980. Having had one leg amputated due to cancer, he embarked on a cross-Canada run to raise money and awareness for cancer research. The annual Terry Fox Run, first held in 1981, has evolved and grown to involve millions of participants in over 60 countries and is the world's largest one-day fundraiser for cancer research. Over $1 billion. It's not about the money. It's about money being a reflection of the energy of consciousness. The energy of consciousness that we are. $1 billion raised in his name through the Terry Fox Research Institute as of last September. In 1980, he began the Marathon of Hope to raise money for cancer research. He hoped to raise $1 from each of Canada's 24 million people. He began with little fanfare from St. John, Newfoundland and Labrador in April that year and ran the equivalent of a full marathon every day. Fox had become a national star by the time he reached Ontario. He made numerous public appearances with businessmen, athletes, politicians in his effort to raise money. He was forced to end his run outside Thunder Bay after the cancer spread to his lungs. Fox died 9 months later on June 28, 1981. He was the youngest person named Companion of the Order of Canada. He won the 1980 Lou Marsh Award as nation's top sportsman. He was named Canada's Newsmaker of the Year in both 1980 and 81 by the Canadian Press. He's considered to be a national hero. He has many buildings, statues, roads, parks named in his honor across the country. And on his tombstone, it says, he made his too short life into a marathon of hope and courage. He answered the call of the deep calling on the deep of that river of divinity within, and he brought it forth through the clarity of his heart and became the certainty of love in this world that has raised $1 billion. It's not about the money. It's about the hope and the courage and the love and the light that he has brought to so many, many others. On his tombstone it says, somewhere the hurting in this world must stop. Somewhere the hurting in this world must stop. I say that somewhere is the river of divinity in your soul. I say that somewhere is when you allow it to flow through the clarity of the love in your heart. I say that somewhere is when you show up as the certainty of love and light and hope and faith that changes so many lives. Canada is not only our neighbor to the north. Canada is a leading advocate for cancer research. Canada is the home of many heroes. Terence Fox. Heroes of which Henry David Thoreau says came to know themselves better, as if for the first time. The Velveteen Rabbit says this of heroes: it doesn't happen all at once. You become. It takes a long time generally, and by the time you're real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. Howard Thurman shares this of the heroes of this life and their moments of high resolve. With the river of love in our hearts, these moments of high resolve are moments of our seeing and our being and becoming more than we knew we could ever be. These matters of high resolve, these moments of high resolve, are moments when we shine forth our courage and our hope and our faith for others to see. And with others to see what we see, they become what we have become. Somewhere the hurting in this world must stop. To which I add, somewhere the healing must begin. Somewhere the healing must begin. I hope in some way, I trust in some way, I know beyond knowing that river of divinity in my soul that there was a clarity in my heart that brought forth a certainty of love in my life, expressing the way I express today. And I hope in some way for each of you, as I know for me, in the depth of my soul, healing began here today. A healing that will continue breath after breath, heartbeat after heartbeat, day after day. If no one has told you today that they love you, CSLB does our best to love you. Sometimes we burn the garlic bread. Sometimes the stuffed peppers aren't heated as warmly as they should be, but we do our best. We do our best to love you the best we can in the moment, and we'll do better tomorrow. We'll do better tomorrow. If you haven't told yourself that you love you today, and those love streamers online, why haven't you? And today, may you come to know, as Master Eckhart shares, Spirit is a great underground river that no one can dam up and no one can stop. The eternality of its flow is eternal. And what is eternal? It's a long, long time. And so I invite us to finish by remembering Terence Fox, remembering those who have gone before, who have lit the light and honored that river of divinity in their soul and let it flow through the clarity of the love in their heart and become the certainty of the love in this light that heals, makes whole, and makes complete. Ernest Holmes. So I invite you to say our affirmation one more time together. The home, sweet home of my soul, dances forever as love's river in my heart. May you dance with the divine in your own way this week. May your own words come to write your own affirmation. May that own river of love in your soul become the clarity of love in your heart that becomes the certainty of the love that you bring forth in this life. And so it is. And so we'll take this into prayer. Oh, we'll bring this prayer forth from within. Maybe rather than taking in prayer, we'll bring it forth from within. And knowing that what is ours not to do, there's more than enough doing. You've done more than enough doing. It's time to be present with a state of being, a state of consciousness in which heaven and earth, dark and light, illness and wellness, lack and abundance become as one. One divinity of consciousness, one royal regency of love is all and all is love. One divinity that we let go into the infinity of that divinity. And as we let go and let be, we come to be who and whose we truly are. The river of divinity, of God's love of light that throws in, as, and through each of us, that throws in, as, and through each nation, that flows in, as, and through the unity of all religions. And together I invite us to say, and so it is.
Everything beneath the sun breathes like a harmonium. Pure perfection has begun, shining like a midnight sun. Out of darkness I have come. I see God in everyone. Let me be an instrument, guided by an heaven sent. May these grapes of pain ferment, alchemized to love's content, ever be a sacrament, knowing God is my intent. God, let me know your name. Hold me in the same breath as your word. God, I feel you all around. Oh, how you astound me with your grace. Rolling like a thundercloud, let me live my love out loud, standing for mankind and proud, baptized in a holy shroud. Peace be still and know me now. God is in all I have found. God, let me know your name. Hold me in the same breath as your word. Oh God, I feel you all around. God, let me know your name. Hold me in the same breath as your word. Oh, how you astound me with your praise. God in everyone, spinning like a prayer field, turning like Ezekiel's wheels. Nothing like a kiss seals the spirit I've become. Knowing what I'm here for, rolling on to distant shore, flowing from the infinite, God in everyone. Out of darkness I have come. I see God in everyone.
Yes, and so our unity candle represents that God in everyone. That God in everyone that we are. That river of divinity that flows in, as, and through Lula and Floyd and Jamie Lula. They answered that call of the divine river in their soul. They let it flow through the clarity of love in their heart, and they allowed it to become the certainty of love expressing as Gary and Jamie in this world. How will you allow that divinity of the divine river in your soul to express through the clarity of love in your heart this week to bring forth a new certainty of the way you show up in this world? There's a divine river flowing underneath this center. We don't always see it, and we don't always feel it, and we don't be present with it. But there's a new entrance foyer. That's your divine river co-creating that. There's new flooring in Carter Hall. That's your divine river expressing as you. There's new paint in the sanctuary. That's your divine river expressing as you, co-creating with this community. There are new cameras. There is new lighting. There's new tech equipment. There's a new parking lot that is on the way that you're co-creating with us, a new parking lot. That river of spirit, that river of the divine, is flowing through the center. Last week we had 50 plus people for Easter service. We had 55 people stay for Easter brunch. We normally have 30 to 40 views on our Sunday replay. This week we're over 60. That's a 50% increase. It gets better. Divine Spirit is flowing in, as, and through the center as you. Our live stream, 50% increase in viewership. It gets better. We send out a 30-second short of the ceremony, and Reverend Neil posted a 30-second short. We normally have 100 or 150 or 200 views on that short. It's 30 seconds. This week we had 1,300 views of our 30-second short. That means between in-house and online and that 30-second video, we had over 1,400 people hear part of this message. If you ever think the divine river of love is not flowing in, as, and through this center as your expression of love, take a look around. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's the power of connected community. And so I invite us now, it's time for our conscious giving. I invite our ushers to come forward at this time. Online love streamers, we invite you to give, and I would say this with me: I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and an open mind. The universe responds to me in kind. I know that my beloved community is richly blessed. And so it is. And online, you can text GIVE 951-420-6909, or you can give through cslbeaumont.org. We're so glad you joined us today.
Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything.
So another way that you can give gratitude to your center is to go to our YouTube page. Share the videos on your Facebook or your timeline or whatever social media that you have. Share it with your friends. Send it to them in an email. Like the videos. Comment on them. That brings it to even more people. That puts yourself in the stream to help the stream move.
And so now it's time for us to circle up. If you're new, we circle up. We hold hands if you're comfortable. And we sing our way out. And if you want to remain seated, you can join us in consciousness, whatever feels right to you. Wonderful happened today at CSLB. It was people coming together in loving community and caring community and in co-creative community. And so what I invite us to take away today and take into our lives, bring it into tomorrow, into the all of this coming week, that together we can co-create a world that works for everyone with no one left behind. And it all begins with me and with you and with us. And so it is. Lunch in Carter Hall. We have some great stuffed peppers and cornbread. And if you're looking for prayer work, Adrian, Yvonne, and myself will meet you over here if you want to do a short prayer.